Hi, everyone, and welcome back for part two of our Sirius Connection series with our special guest, Neil Bentley. Building upon our toolbox talk, where we laid the foundations and context of what we're about to deep dive and put into place today, as Neil says, this is the fun stuff, where basically we're going to showcase how this connection to Sirius is placed in front of our noses in our everyday walks in and out of what we call this proverbial game of life. The elites or Elven, they, them, the powers that be, etc., and so forth, are duty bound, I believe, to tell us the game. And they do, in displaying their signs, sigils, and symbols, a true narrative for the subconscious mind, for the adept. So let us weave the threads for you and sit tight, for it really is for those that have eyes to see. Seriously. Neil, thanks for coming back to bamboozle us for part two, which is, as we have said, is part two of an ongoing series here on Dark Matters. We'll keep going until we can take no more. So, how are you going to hit us with it today? Do you want to give us an overview, Neil, of what we're going to cover and how we're going to cover it?
Yeah. Well, again, the first talk that we did, a lot of what I've been saying, the majority of it, no one will have heard of before, especially last week when we went through 50, 100 names. Most people will have heard most of the names, but never been able to relate them straight back to Sirius. So, for example, everyone relates Venus to Lucifer, and that's about it. But what the red herring is there, everybody thinks about the planet Venus when it's not. It's actually the Roman fertility god, Venus, that is Sirius, going back to the 4th of July thing. So basically, it's just this one is running through a few dozen examples of where you're going to see Sirius every single day without actually knowing about it. You will have heard theories on some of these things before, but none of the theories you will have heard of, the answer will be Sirius. So that's basically where we're going to go with this one. Or
Awesome.
can you recognize Sirius in the pictures that get put up?
Yeah. And I think that's what's going to be quite fun about this one, as we've kind of said off camera and during the week. Neil's kind of put this together lovingly for us. And me and Johnny are going to do our best to try and interpret some of the images and see how it works. It's going to be super interesting just how we know that these symbols and sigils, etc., play on our subconscious that we do see every day, like I said in the introduction. But when we're presented with them with that kind of serious connection and if our subconscious can kind of bring forth whatever it brings forth. Let's see. It's gonna be
Yes.
interesting.
It's seeing the word, for example, seeing the word Satan, and do the picture in your mind come up with a big red ugly dude, or does it come up with Sirius, Satan, the jackal?
I just see your face now telling me off, Neil, if I say Satan. I
Depends
just
on
see
all you
you. Are
want.
you the
Satan.
devil? Are you Satan?
You can say Satan all you want. It's like saying the Phoenicians. You can say the Phoenicians all you want, but it's the picture that pings in your head. If you see the word Phoenician, do you think about the Mediterranean or do you think about the Fenians? It's
Yeah.
just
Well,
that.
I think
If you see the word Satan or if you see the word Lucifer, you should automatically think of Sirius instead of some big red ugly dude that's going to kill children and stuff.
yeah. Okay. Well,
It's a
let's do it.
reprogram. It's just a reprogramming of the words that you know.
Yeah. And I think, like you say, we're going to do it in a bit of a different style this week, and we're going to pop the images up, and we're going to kind of have a look at them because obviously we know, it's all an image says 1,000 words, doesn't it? So it's going to be
Right.
working on our cerebrums, on our deep subconscious, on our deep psyche.
Yeah. So for the first 15, 20 minutes or so, one or two of these you'll have already seen or already heard. So that's just almost a refresher, just to basically give you an example of how to see it, where we're going with this sort of thing. So we'll start off with there we go. We'll start off with one that you should know, and that is the $1 bill in the all-seeing eye. What do you
Yeah.
see? What do you see? Say what you see.
So yeah. So say what you see. What was that? Was it catchphrase? I think that old program, wasn't it? So I've
So,
just done a dollar bill decode on this for Joey actually from the library. I've been told I got a cameo in his latest video. So obviously we've got the eye there, the all-seeing eye, which is the eye of Providence, isn't it? And
correct.
The eye of Providence is Sirius.
Correct. and that's pretty much it.
Are we getting
Yeah,
points? Because
got
I've
the
just won one,
capstone.
Johnny.
Pardon?
If we're getting points, is it like a tally? Like I don't want to get competitive, but
No, there's a couple of things you can describe about that, but it's not worth getting into now because we'll stick with the program.
All right, I could
But
go.
the layers of the elite at the top with the all seeing eye, and each layer is a compartmentalized down into those that know so much going down. That's some of the things that a lot of people know that. That's been put out for a while, but that's by the by, separate issue.
Yeah,
and
I'm not,
there's no
And
order,
what's well, order out of chaos is written on it, isn't it?
new order of the ages, Novus Ordo
Yeah,
Seclorum.
yeah,
I don't want to start going into all the lettering and the layers and all the rest of it. This is just predominantly that Eye of Providence over the pyramid, which the Eye of Providence is another name for Sirius, and it's over the pyramid because of the 4th of July fertility thing in Egypt. That's it. So, like I
Yeah,
said, start off with the fairly easy ones that you already know, and then go into ones that you don't know. So, Washington DC, the layout of Washington DC. I know we've done this one, but we'll just have a quick recap. Um,
yeah,
there's a lot of theories over this. I've seen a lot of theories over this, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's Egyptian fertility, and this and that, and it's something to do with Satan, etc." Where we've got the Capitol building, the obelisk, the five-pointed star on the road layout. Um, we've got obviously got the Pentagon. We have the Vesica Pisces over the obelisk. All these things represent Sirius because we have the Vesica Pisces, which represents the orbits of Sirius and the Sun. We have the Egyptian glyph for Sirius, which has your dome, your five-pointed star, and your obelisk. So the entire
yeah,
layout of Washington, D.C. is Sirius.
yeah.
So the next one. And there you go again, Sirius. That's St. Peter Square, Vatican.
And St. Peter's, as I always say, Peter means stone, and stone in legal terms is the debt that Rome collects. That's that representation of our debt slavery and due Peter. So I suppose that's where you can get hey Zeus or Jesus, is it from Neil? And due Peter, and it's all linked to the luminaries and the wanderers, I guess. And that's what they're alluding to, which obviously links into
Yeah, well, so a lot of this breaking down of sort of words in and around Rome, that's your that's your speciality, not mine.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, because it kind of looks like a key as well. I think you were saying, weren't you, in the last episode that we did as well? Was it the Dharma wheel or something that you said has those spikes, like, and it because isn't that's that pattern there again, isn't it? Obviously, that's what you're alluding
no,
to. I'm
Dharma
just
wheel has eight spokes on it.
Yeah,
it's not the Dharma
the
It's
dart
not a Dharma wheel.
is it pronounced DARPA? Is it
or
D?
No,
DARPA, is it?
Dharma. Did you say DARPA?
I think it's DARPA,
I
DARPH.
Yeah,
might be getting that wrong.
yeah. I thought you said
Yeah,
Dharma. I apologise.
I did. I got that wrong. Yeah, so it's the DARPA wheel. Sorry.
But what
Yeah.
I've always had this the wheel that you see, the spoke wheel. I've always had that as the wheel of time, as in the Aurora Boreas. Both
Ah,
of them,
yes.
basically representing this Vesica Pisces, this never-ending cycles, if you will. Because
I
if
said,
you just if you look at the normal timeline, say Darwinism, and then you're going back 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 50,000 years, it's all a linear time. But in this theory, it's secular time, it's circles. So if you went back 24,000 years, there was probably three people sat here right now speculating at well, what had happened 5,000 years before then. It's the same old, the same old every 24,000 years. So
yeah, yeah.
another American icon, the Statue of Liberty.
given to them by France.
Yes, it was built in France. I believe it was initially meant to go to Egypt. Egypt didn't want it, and then the American government forced the American people to buy it. Well, that's the story behind it. Anyway, it was made of
Yeah.
copper, and now it's bright green.
And does it represent Venus?
It represents
The mornings.
it represents all the fertility goddesses that I named last week. So there's a lot of speculation about what the name is. Isis, Venus, Ishtar, Diana, Mother Mary. You could pick any one of those names and they're all the same because all those names of the fertility goddesses all represent Sirius, and the Statue of Liberty represents Sirius in the feminine form. So you could pick a dozen names and every one of them will be right, which is why everyone's arguing about the name of it. Someone will be arguing that it's Mother Mary and someone will be arguing that it's Isis, and yet they're both the same because it's Sirius. So to break down the Statue of Liberty and why it is Sirius, we'll start with the torch. There's a lot of speculation about what the torch is, but the torch is Loka, which is Norwegian for the torch of Loki, which then translates to Sirius. So that torch that the Statue of Liberty is holding in her hand is actually Loki. Or Sirius.
The trickster god.
And obviously we've got the 4th of July there, which we already know about the 4th of July Egypt fertility thing and Sirius rising in the east.
Yeah. Hence why it's called the Eastern Star, isn't it? That's another name.
The Eastern Star, the Morning Star. So this is why we did all the foundation work last week, and then we look at it this week. So obviously the Sirius rises in the east on the 4th of July. Then we'll look at the 7 spikes on her head. Sirius is called the 7th Holy Star, or the 7th Heavenly Star, which is why we get 7 spokes on her head. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So that basically explains everything about the Statue of Liberty. It's a feminine goddess. She's facing east. She's got the 4th of July book in her hand. She's got 7 spikes on her head, and she's holding the torch of Loki. So every one of those things represents Sirius. So everything about the Statue of Liberty is Sirius.
And liberty actually means, just throwing in my etymology boots really, shore leave from a ship. So when people are wanting liberty and justice, they actually mean two completely different things. It's maritime terminology again, maritime translating to sea of time.
That word again, maritime. Everything goes back to maritime. Well,
exactly.
It goes back to maritime.
Exactly. It's the Liberty Bell, wasn't it? You ring a bell, you get so much leave.
Yeah, and in the Second World War, they had the Liberty ships.
Yeah.
Thousands of them. Exactly. So we'll move on to another easy one that everyone sees every day, the Stars and Stripes. So we start off with the Stars and Stripes with the Unea Star. Stars and Stripes is covered in 50 white 5-pointed stars. So the white 5-pointed star is the Unea Star of the Sira people, and the Unea Star represents Sirius. Sirius A and Sirius B take 50 years to orbit each other, which is why the Stars and Stripes has 50 white 5-pointed stars on it. It's nothing to do with the number of states in America. It's the time that it takes A and B to orbit each other. Yeah. It's red, white, and blue. Again, we explained last week because of the Doppler effect of the white dwarf star coming and going. So that's where you get your red, white, and blue. And it's also called the Silver Star, the SS. That's where we get Stars and Stripes, the name from SS, Stars and Stripes, Silver Star Sirius.
The SS. like
SS.
social services. That's what I call social services, the SS.
SS will be coming up again once or twice.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the red, white, and blue of the Doppler effect, where we see it in our flags just about everywhere we go. So quick look at all the red, white, and blue flags. I do like where you've got the one of Chile with the 5-pointed star.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on while we're on flags. We're going to look at another one which represents Sirius, which you might not have seen before. We get the crescent and the 5-pointed star. Now, I know a few years ago, have you heard of a researcher called Crow 777?
Yes.
He did a lot of work.
Listen.
He did a lot of work a few years ago. He does a lot of photography work of the moon and things like that. A few years ago, there was a big theory that the moon was transparent and you could see stars through it. This was all relating to the flat Earth and the moon being plasma, etc., etc. So a few years ago, there was this big theory that all these crescent moon flags basically represented the moon, and you could see a star through it. Which might be right. There's quite a lot of mileage in that theory. But in this theory, that crescent moon is the sun, Sol, and the 5-pointed star behind it is Sirius, the black sun, the sun behind the sun. So in as I see that, that is Sirius behind the sun, not a star shining through the moon.
Yeah.
You see that. You can see that. The crescent sun with the 5-pointed star behind it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right?
Yeah.
See it?
Makes sense. The sun behind the sun.
Now do you see it?
Oh, oh. Now you see it. Yeah, yeah.
Now do you still see it?
Yeah, I do. That's why I've kind of said, Neil, I find it quite laughable that people think that Vladimir Putin, I mean, Putin put in that, and he came up through the WEF. I'm not quite sure everyone thinks that he's not part of it. I suppose everyone plays their parts and roles, but yeah, I see that. The sickle and is it the sickle and hammer and the
That's
star?
the
But
hammer.
obviously the crescent moon's
It's a
there and the
sickle and
stars.
hammer.
The
Sickle and
sickle and
hammer.
hammer, but as I see that, that's cleverly disguised as the sun with Sirius behind it.
Yeah, I see that.
Right, we got that one. So obviously we've got the Doppler effect with the red and the blue. So we have the red lodges and the blue lodges of the Masons. We have the red and blue of the Republicans and Democrats. We have the red and the blue of the Tories and the Labour. Like there's any difference between them all?
Two wings on the same bird.
Yep. Left wing, right wing, two wings of the same bird. Here's a
The
good one.
two-headed Janus, isn't it? They play both sides.
Yeah.
They look at both sides and they play both sides and they back both sides.
But again, that's back to your eye of providence, whether they're covering the left eye or the right eye. Is it the good side?
Yeah.
Is it the good path or the bad path? But either way, that is still Sirius. The eye of providence, the also is still Sirius. They're worshipping Sirius. There was one watched documentary a few weeks ago, and I think it was Robert Downey Jr. at one of these BAFTA awards or something. And then he stands up and he says, "All hail Satan. We worship Satan." And then a few days later, 1,000 researchers are all making videos about Robert Downey Jr. worshipping Satan and all hail Satan. Well, all you need to do is just change that word Satan to Sirius, and you understand what he's actually saying. He's not saying we hail some red dude and we worship evil. All he's saying is we worship Sirius.
Yeah.
So,
And why, Neil, do you think that they're worshipping Sirius in your opinion? And obviously we know that about the kind of that it's come from the constellation of Orion and obviously the Anunnaki myths of our creation or the archons. So are you I mean I know we've slightly covered it, but are you saying that they're worshipping Sirius because they know these occult secrets and they know our true origins, etc., and how to harness that force or that life force or energy? What is it? The point?
In a word, yes.
Yeah.
That's it, basically. these ethereal energies, these rising and falling of enlightenment.
Yeah.
But that's the secret. But basically, they've got to keep that a secret because of this linear timescale that they've indoctrinated everyone into. You have to throw away every history book and close every school and university if you actually had to readjust history to what it actually is,
Oh.
which is never going to happen, which is why I describe all that as just being Disneyland. This is the
Yeah.
reality, what we're looking at, but they've taught us Disneyland, and now we just have to de-educate
Yeah.
ourselves. Again,
Yeah.
this every day. You've got the red, white, and blue. You've got the illumination of the light behind it, and you have SS Sky Sports, Silver Star
Mhm.
Sirius. But
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
even when you're watching Sky Sports, you'll have Super Saturday, Super Sunday. All the time, you'll be hearing SS.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what.
Well,
That's
and
what.
this is how they code, isn't it? This is how they code to one another right in front of our faces.
Again, more, if you look at something like Sky Sports, that will be done deliberately. You
Mm.
will come across some that have been done accidentally, come across some that are just jumping on the ship. But the big companies like this, like Sky Sports, there's no accident that begins SS and it's in red, white, and blue. That's not done by accident. Neither's that.
No.
So you briefly mentioned the Anunnaki and Nibiru and Planet X. Well, if you've studied that timeline, then you'll have also seen the flying disc, where you have like a circle and two like that. You'll have
Yeah.
a circle in the middle of it. This is where the V, this flying disc comes from, is the Nibiru side of Sirius. So again, you've got the red and the blue, and you've got this big V in the middle, which is actually the flying disc.
Yeah.
You see that one? So what about that
And we
one?
know, don't we, all these corporations, all their logos, they all have these occult hidden meanings. I mean, I've covered some of them in some previous videos I did in Clown World, but like pretty much every logo that they have is linked to some occult hidden meaning.
Absolutely, but like I say, since I sort of put this cipher onto these, 90% of
Yeah,
the answers all keep coming back as either Sirius or the Tuatha De Danann or Ireland. I mean, when I start making
yeah,
lists of the names of Tuatha De Danann, you'll understand why I call them out the Elvins and why they were so important. But we've not got that far yet. But like I say, a lot of these symbols, if you start off with "Is it Sirius?" 90% of the time you'll be correct. So last year we had the ladies' golf, the Solheim Cup. So again, do you see the flying disc?
yeah.
The red, white, and the blue, the five pointed stars. And just for the cherry on top, if you look at the word Solheim,
Oh,
Sol Sol
oh
is
yeah,
Sol is obviously the sun.
Yeah.
Heim translates to home. So Solheim means home of the sun. Which sun?
yeah,
Right, when we were talking about the flying disc with the Nibiru thing and that sort of symbol, that's Sotdet, who represents Sirius
yeah,
with the flying disc. So another flying disc, the Phoenix, described
yeah.
in Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma. The last flying disc. Oh,
How did he slip in there? He's everywhere. Who's
yeah,
this
well,
dude?
it's still the flying
Only on
disc.
a bad day, that.
The flying disc. Either way, you can't get away from Sirius. And again, there we go. More red, white, and blues and V's and things.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to change direction slightly this time. And
It's on our ambulances as well, isn't it? Obviously, the police, the ambulances, they're red, white, and blue, aren't they? The flashing lights.
everywhere's red, white,
Right.
and blue.
Oh,
Once,
well, red and blue.
if this theory is true, which I'm not claiming it is, but there is a mountain of evidence to say that it is, If you then start looking for red, white, and blue, or you start looking for SS, MM, AA, whatever, or any one of these names, this is why I keep saying it is literally everywhere. It's just that I presume you've seen They Live. It is
Yeah,
literally like it is literally like putting They Live glasses on because you
yeah,
see it. Once you know about it, you see it everywhere.
yeah.
Now then, this will expand your knowledge base a little bit. We're going to go from Conor McDarry's Bible and the Pyramids to Rome to Sirius. So I know in the first one I mentioned Rome being Ro and Om, heaven and earth. Well, this first part of this bit is coming from it's Conor McDarry's work. This isn't my work; it's Conor McDarry's work. But my work is then going to be attached onto the end of it, just to add a little cherry to it. So, in Conor McDarry's work, the word Rome is split down to Ro and Om, heaven and earth.
Yeah.
Rome is set on the river Tiber. Now, the word Tiber, translated in Irish, means spring or stream. Rome is sat on the seven hills. It was built on the seven hills. And we also have the Seven Sisters Hills in Ireland. Rome has their leader, Caesar, who is the embodiment of the sun god on earth. Ireland has a sun god called Caesar, one of the earliest sun gods. And just to add a little bit onto the word the word Caesar comes from Ireland. It was used in Rome. Caesar is also Tsar, Caesar and Tsar. And that connection with Russia and Rome. We also have the Black Eagle of Dan.
Yeah.
Staying on,
Um,
staying on with Conor McDarry's work, Rome was built by Romulus and Remus. Now, we know how they're like flipping and changing and messing around with words. If we take the words Romulus and Remus and flip them, we get the words Sumer and Solumor. Solumor. Still with me?
yeah. Oh,
Sumer.
yeah.
Sumer. If you read them upwards,
Yeah.
Sumer means sun. Solumor means the great sun. So that comes from Conor McDarry. Solumor and Sumer means the sun and the great sun. So if we then just expand that a little bit, the sun, Sumer, is Sol, our sun, and the greater sun is Sirius, the sun behind the sun.
Wow.
That
Awesome.
Connor didn't tell you that bit. He
No.
said the translation is sun and greater sun, and yet to
Wow.
take that one step further, the sun is Sol and the greater sun is Sirius. So that's it.
Wow. And Sumer, I suppose, it links to Sumerian, which you taught me, Neil. Obviously, in Irish, Sumer means dragon, doesn't it?
Sun. Sumer means sun. That's where we get the word summer
Sun
from.
means
The
sun.
great sun. The dog days. Sumer literally just
Uh,
translates
ah,
it's summer, sun. Sumer means sun.
right.
Sulyamore means the
Oh,
greatest.
Sumer.
Summer.
That's why
Sumer.
we get summer.
Correct.
Summer. Oh my
Oh,
days.
did the penny
Yay!
just did the penny just drop?
That's why I love this stuff.
Yeah,
Might take me a minute.
yeah,
My age.
that's where we get the word summer from because it comes from
Wow.
the sun and the greater sun. So that's the sun and the greater sun, the black sun, the sun behind the sun, and that's all related to Rome.
Yeah.
So the next picture, tell me what you see.
I know this one. Isis, Horus, Set, isn't it? It's
Correct.
the Jesuit symbol, isn't it? which
So
is
it's the Jesuit symbol.
Sirius.
It's the Jesuit symbol, yes, which comes from Rome. Isis, Horus, and Set are three names for Sirius, and
Yes.
the sun behind the sun, the black sun, is that's all surrounding it. So again, we find Sirius in Rome everywhere. Right, we're going to go on to some lettering. What I was saying last week about the AA, the MM, the SS. So we're starting off with AM, Ave Maria.
Yeah.
We find everywhere in Christianity. Ave Maria translates to Our Mary. Our Mary is Mother Mary. Mother Mary is Sirius from the 4th of July fertility thing. So basically, Ave Maria, another name for the Statue of Liberty, if you wanted. So
Wow.
let's have a look at some of these AMs, Ave Maria or Sirius. We have.
The Catholic inside me is dying. I mean, it was already dead, but I just keep going, having flashbacks, Neil, of me in assembly singing Ave Maria and saying another one like "Yes, sir," like "Yes, Sirius," isn't it? I think "Yes, sir." I think that's where that comes potentially as well. And I'm going, we're in these rituals all the time and we don't know it.
Yes, sir. Sirius. That's where
Yeah,
that comes from. Seer, where you've
yeah,
got the
yeah,
seer, the
yeah.
seers from Ireland.
Seers,
No, the seer, S-E-R, is it S-E-R-E,
the
S-W-E-R-E?
seer, the
Like the
seer,
knowledge,
seer,
yeah, the knowledgeable ones from Ireland, like they were equivalent to the Druids.
seers. I always call myself a seer, but I'm just maybe that's me being at my own bottom. But yes, S-E-E-R, seer.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. So let's just stay on some of these letters for a bit. So we've got A&M Records, accidental, deliberate, who knows?
Yeah,
AM, morning.
yeah. Adam and Eve, evening, AM, PM as well, because they love time, don't they?
Yeah,
Adam,
again,
evening.
with all their symbology and lettering and stuff, there's always usually two or three different explanations. You know, say you can put you can say there's
Yeah,
33 kings of Ireland, and then someone will argue that there's 33 vertebrae, or there's Jesus was
mm,
crucified on 33. They might all be the same. They might all be right. Like I say, I can give you 10 names for the Statue of Liberty, and they are all right. So this is how you
yeah.
also get people arguing. I'm right. I'm right. Well, actually, you're all right.
That's what I was saying, Neil, and I think it's quite an important point to note as well. If you walk into a bookstore and you want to learn how to build a wall, there's probably like about 10 books in the corner and telling you how to do it, or maybe 50 books. If you want to get into spirituality, into philosophy, into ancient history, imagine how many books there are. And I think that's a really key point that kind of everyone's right in their own way. I mean, some people are being correct as well, but it's kind of pulling the proverbial thread of these things. That's what I think moves our consciousness, and that's the bit that then lifts us in frequency in that sense, because it's getting us having these conversations and seeing these things in the first place, and then that hopefully should move us, but without arguing with each other. And everyone seems to be arguing. The devil truly is in the detail. Then I think.
Well, exactly the same from a trade perspective. Every trade, I'm a kitchen fitter. So if you took 10 houses and put 10 kitchen fitters into each of those 10 houses, I don't care how much experience you've got or how good a kitchen fitter you are, every single one of those 10 kitchen fitters will fit the kitchen a completely different way. But then when you get to the end of it, every single kitchen will look exactly the same because they are all exactly the same. So
Yeah.
there is no, this is what I say with the researching. I mean, I know you're talking to other researchers like Steve, for example. A lot of his work is the second golden age of Britain, the Jerusalem, Troy, etc., etc. Well, I've got that time period from 500 BC to about 1000 AD. So that's the time period he's working on. My
Yeah.
predominant time period is the first golden age, Atlantis Island. Well, that's 6 to 10,000 years ago. But we're all going to end up in the same place, and it doesn't matter where we start from. This is
Yeah.
only there's only certain number of times, you can learn that 2 and 2 is 4. So by the time
Yeah.
you get
Certain analogy you made there about fitting kitchens, it may well be true, but when you pass down skills, if
yep,
you're an apprentice
yep,
and you're diligent enough to follow your instructions, you end up being able to do the job properly and correctly. For instance, I'm an engineer, so when I got a blueprint put in front of me, I knew exactly what to do with it. It's got all the dimensions on it, everything that I need to cut and shape and weld up.
yep,
And everyone on there did the same thing
yep,
because that is a skill that you possess. But you know, when it comes to being creative, if you listen, everybody might be able to stand to read or write music, but when you create your own and write your own, that's when it becomes different. So it's just like when you're being creative, it's not quite the same as just learning a skill, which is a trade in that sense. So just to keep things on the straight and narrow, it's fine to use an analogy, but what I'm getting at is creativity comes from the imagination and skill comes from knowledge, which you've learned. And if you don't apply that knowledge correctly when you're using a skill, you get a mess. But when you're being creative, it's a completely different approach. So if we're imagining something, including whatever you may want to present, you've got it from the skills that you of your research, but you can embellish that with your imagination. It's quite easy to do. Hence, you've got lots of different books on philosophy, and you've got because it requires imagination, because imagination is the key to it. But you got to be really careful because your imagination can lead you down a really slippery slope too, and that is what is important to me. So views and opinions as a mystic, because I class myself as one, all have to dissolve at some point. It doesn't really matter what I've learned. Once I try to get to something that's beyond the intellect, everything else needs to be dissolved. So there's three different approaches to life there that I'm talking about. But I only wanted to say it simply because when I've noticed just recently, there's a lot of people, so-called truth movement, whatever that is, arguing over Terence Howard, things that you've presented. People don't particularly like me butting in when you're speaking and things like that, but it is a podcast. I do think it's interesting and I do want you to proceed from here on in. But I want to make that point. I stand in a different spot. I'm not on a fence. It's all to do with reason and logic with me, as well as something spiritual. And when I say spiritual, I mean to rise above the flesh. So do continue, sir.
yeah, it's no problem. But I mean, not just to labour a point. I mean, I served my time as a coach builder. So as an apprentice, you learn the ABC principles of how to do the job. Then once you become a tradesman over the years, then you diversify into the best way you can do the job or how you see the job being done. You have a drawing of what you want at the end of the day, as in you could take a technical drawing of a kitchen. Every kitchen will be exactly the same by the time you finish it, but everyone will do the job in a different order, in a slightly different fashion, but you will still end up with the same thing at the end of the day. It's once you've learned
Yeah,
this.
that's application, though. That's your
Yeah, well,
application of the
yeah.
skills you've learned.
Well, that's what I said last week. We did the toolbox talk for learning all the words to give you the skills to be able to recognize it. Then you take that application out into the real life. And this is just an example of showing you where those words crop up in real life. And then it's up to you to take it on board and to run with it yourself. Like I keep saying, this might be right, it might be wrong. I'm not a teacher,
Yeah.
but it's up to everyone. Oh, well, I'll take 50% of that. But then if I go out into real life, can I see them for myself out in real life? This is, I see these talks as more of an education for people then to take on themselves, which is why I keep saying the subject is that big. Every content producer on the planet could have a lifetime of content producing just on this subject. This is just an introduction to the subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fine, mate.
Yeah, so that's all I see trade and everything. Right, so Mother Mary. We all know Mother Mary from Christianity. You see Mother Mary? Do you also
I can see
see?
a
Go on.
vulva. A vulva and a clitoris, isn't it? It massively represents as well in many kind of depictions of it. But maybe you're not going there.
I'm not going. Oh, I am going there. Well, I am going there, but I'm not going there because, like I say, Mother Mary represents the fertility aspect of Sirius.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
So that's what this is where you get the fertility thing from, and it's
Yeah.
also shaped like
Does
that.
the Vesica Pisces, Neil, the Vesica Pisces, is that what's on there
That's
as well?
my
Does
point.
that sometimes represent,
All right.
doesn't that represent facility too?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen that in between a woman's legs, not being funny or dirty, but they do that.
That,
They say that's where we come in. Are we born
yeah.
into the earth through the Vesica Pisces?
Yeah. Extra bonus point to that, man. That's where I was going with it. That is the centre part of
Right.
the Vesica
One
Pisces.
all, Johnny.
Yeah, what's surrounding her is the centre point of the Vesica Pisces, and I've got half in mind that that is what they call the Garden of Eden, because
Mm.
once Sirius and the Sun start moving away from each other, that is the fall of man. So once you leave the Garden of Eden, that's the fall of man. So that's Sirius and the Sun moving away from each other. So there would be an argument to say that this center of the Vesica Pisces is the Garden of Eden. But yes, it's the center of the Vesica Pisces.
Can I just say as well
Yep.
that they do say that the Holy Grail is the uterus and the womb of a woman as well, allegedly in kind of Gnostic thoughts. But that literally is a vagina. I mean, if we look at it there, it's got the folds, it's got the lips, it's got the redness. I don't want to keep saying vagina. I know it's Saturday morning and it's a bit early, but it literally is. And a lot of the statues and images of Mother Mary or Mother Elven, or the is that, and you can
Ah,
see the fold. That is a vagina
yeah,
and
because that
the
center
fertility right there.
represents the fertility.
Yeah, awesome.
Why did you say it was the Holy Grail?
That one. Oh, let me just go back talking about. I missed that one on Holy Grail. Yeah, you've got your translation of the word Holy Grail. I'll give you another translation because the word Grail means tablet, stone tablet.
Yeah,
And just to skip over into Ireland a second, when the Tuatha De Danann landed in Ireland, they carried 4 magical items with them. One of them was the Tablet of Destiny, which could be the Holy Grail.
yeah,
So the Tablet of Destiny that the Tuatha De Danann carried to Ireland can also be written or read as the Grail. So was that the Holy Grail? A stone tablet?
and I think that's it, isn't it? It's different interpretations again, and they may all be correct, and that's that, like Johnny says, that ridiculousness of kind of arguing over some of it, or if not most of it, to a degree. But it's
Well,
just super interesting, and it sparks, doesn't it? It sparks your consciousness.
this is just, I'm not, like I say, I'm not saying I'm right over these, and I'm not saying Grail is a stone tablet. I'm saying the translation of the word Grail is a stone tablet. So if you didn't know that before, then you now have another
Yeah,
explanation of what could possibly be the answer to the word Grail.
yeah,
That's all.
awesome.
You said the Holy Grail, and everyone thinks about a cup. I
Yeah,
bet no one's ever thought about it being a stone tablet before, but now they
no,
can. But now they can. Or if you
yeah,
then, or like I say, if you want to now pick up your computer, open a web page on your computer, put in Holy Grail, the Tuatha De Danann, and the Tablet of Destiny, and go and teach yourself. That's how I
yeah,
did
yeah,
it. That's how we all did it.
yeah.
So on with the religious of the fertility, this bottom right, left, the Vesica Pisces, the centre.
Yeah.
Eminem.
Oh yeah. It's off one of my favorite films as well. Like, I just want all the brown M&Ms in a big glass. It's with Nail and I, isn't it? Eminem, of course, yeah. Oh, Eminem. Oh, the singer, the rapper, Eminem.
And M. You like this one?
It's called Marshall Mathers.
Marshall Mathers, M and M.
Yeah.
And in this one, M and M is Mother Mary, which is Sirius. At some point in the future, if you carry on with these talks, you'll be fascinated to know what that bull's horn symbol is, because it's not what you think. You know, everyone's pulling the bull's horns everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not what you think it is. Believe me, it's not. Even they don't know what it is. But we'll get into that in another talk. But we're staying here. Just at the moment, we're on M and M. Oh yeah. Oh, I just seen it. Curtain call. CC 33. C is the third letter of the alphabet. CC 33. Now then, we take the word M&M. You know, we're saying how they're like flipping things and turning and inverting things.
Yeah.
What,
Ah.
what are you seeing?
Men.
Menheim.
Menai.
Can't see the other bits. Our pictures are on it.
Yeah.
Has it got an E on the end?
Yeah. Menheim.
No,
it's the invert. No. It's the inverted M&M. But do you know what the translation for the word Menheim is?
No.
God.
No.
God.
God.
God. So that's
God.
the word Menheim translates to God.
God.
Doesn't Mono as well, is it? Does the Dogon have a similar name for the people that came from a planet that goes around Sirius-ly? It's like Monim or something, yeah.
All right. Well, no.
I'll come back to it.
Yeah, I'll look that one up. All I know is the word Menheim translated is God. So what they've done is invert the word God into M&M.
Right, wow.
To
their gods.
Their God.
Serious.
Millimeter, MM.
Oh, yeah.
MM. So this is where I was just saying before, is it accidental or is it deliberate? And I'm presuming this is just some self-employed chap who does central heating, who thought, oh, that looks good, or was he in the Masons and he decided that MM was good for the Masons? Because I very much doubt that that one is deliberate unless it has something to do with the Masons.
Yeah.
Right. Argentium astrium. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Right. As we learned last week, argentium means silver, astrium means star. So this is where we get the SS. The SS and the AA are the same thing, silver star. So we get argentium astrium, also means silver star, which also means Sirius. Yep. What's that?
I'm trying to read it.
No, I'm just saying, just to take one look at that, do you know what it is? Just off the top of your head. If you know what it is, you know it. If you don't know what it is, you don't know it.
I can see a lot of things that I'd recognise in it, but I don't know what the actual symbol represents.
Well, basically, you just need to look at the top left-hand corner where it says AA, Argentium astrium.
It's not A.
Yeah, Argentium astrium, top left, AA. That sigil, that emblem, is the emblem for the Illuminati. That's the Illuminati. That's the emblem for the Illuminati.
Why are the sevens in it, Neil?
I've always had sevens as SS personally, and the seventh heavenly star. Sirius is called the seventh heavenly star, and
that's my favourite number.
When they say 7 is God's number, I'm more recently leaning towards their God being Sirius, or 7 being the number of Sirius, because Sirius is called the seventh heavenly star, the seventh holy star, which is, to me, that's why we keep seeing 7 everywhere. It's not actually God, it's their God, 7.
Their God. This would make sense. The invert everything.
And also, weirdly, number 7 is the 7th letter of the alphabet is G. So we find that in the middle of the square and compass. G7.
And Jimmy Savile was the seventh son of a seventh son, isn't it? So apparently that's got quite a magical, mystical element to it. Allegedly, he was part of the royal dynasty of that bloodline. But whether that's true or not, I just thought I'd add that in for interest. But it's a very kind of magical term to be the seventh son of a seventh son, apparently. And he was born in York, which is allegedly ancient Babylon,
Yeah, I
and
dropped
so
that.
on there.
I actually dropped that
Yeah.
You're still a twat.
one.
It was still a 12, did you
I,
say?
I actually dropped
He
that
were
one
a bit odd, weren't he?
just a tad. But I dropped that one on Bruce Dickinson a couple of weeks ago because Iron Maiden had a song called "The Seventh Son of the Seventh Son of the Seventh Son." So just changed
Yeah,
son to son.
yeah,
Serious.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
AA. I mean, you caught that. You jumped ahead last week when we were talking about AA. So we've got the
yeah,
Automobile Association, the AA. It's got 5 pointed stars, and it's the Silver Award. Sirius being the Silver Star.
yeah, yeah.
We have.
Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, that's some
I know this
foolishness,
one
really.
is.
Yeah.
Mm, you go, Johnny. You take this one,
No,
Johnny.
I don't know what it is unless it's the RAC or something. I don't know, but it looks Freemasonry to me with 33 in the middle.
Well, it's
But
weird.
one day at a time recovery.
Yeah, it's
It's
alcohol.
alcohol. Is it Alcoholics
It's
Anonymous? Yeah,
what?
it's Alcoholics Anonymous.
Cheer.
AA
Yeah.
Anonymous.
Give over. That's Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yes,
That's Alcoholics Anonymous.
alcoholics.
Get out of it.
And why would you still be in,
What?
why would you still be in
Why?
after 33 years? 33 years dry. Have a badge. Well, that's for Alcoholics Anonymous.
That's remarkable.
And it's all there, isn't it? When you know, as you know, the little I know on symbols, and you know, I'm still a baby. I'm still learning this stuff, but obviously it's all there. It's like the Illuminati one, isn't it? Even the cross in the circle represents the kind of the portal of the Star of David, and all these things that you start to like say. You just once you see it, you just can't unsee it. And I always thought it was Alcoholics Anonymous is a weird thing. I'm not saying that it hasn't helped many people. You know, everybody pipe down, but to go into a room and just repeatedly keep saying you are something. I'm an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. Well, sure enough, you will be for the rest of your life. Because it's like when if you go into a doctor's and they tell you you've got 3 months to live, if you leave that office going, I've got 3 months to live, I've got 3 months to live, well, you will do, you know, and because we are these powerful manifestors and we repeat it, we're programming our own minds, aren't we? So I always thought AA was weird, if I'm honest, but and that just proves
Well,
it.
it is weird. I mean, that is weird. I mean, if you consider that most people that go to Alcoholics Anonymous or those groups, it's usually a Salvation Army or some Christian group, and you have to go along with all of that rhetoric before you can get help. But
They
I've
believe in a
never
higher power, but
seen that.
yeah,
Yeah,
who's higher?
absolutely.
Mm, whose
No,
God is it?
it's nothing.
Exactly. That's what we've got to ask ourselves, isn't it? And it's
Uh,
serious.
well, this next bit, it's kind of speculation, but it's also, did they? Did they really? Because let's have a look at American Airlines.
Oh yeah.
Now, you've got American Airlines, AA, Argentium Astrium. You've got the red, white, and blue from the Doppler effect. You've got the silver from the Silver Star Sirius. So that's American Airlines. American Airlines also have a subsidiary company called Silver Airlines. And actually, Silver Airlines SA in Gematria is 911. So well,
Wow.
that's S, because A is 1, S is 19, SA is 911. So,
Nice pink airplane.
oh, we've not finished on this one yet. So, SOPDET, we know SOPDET represents Sirius.
Mm.
So that's the Egyptian glyph for SOPDET, where you see the 5 pointed star over her head. We also find, what are these two twin towers doing over her head? I've always scratched my head at that one.
Well, and it's mentioned in scripture, the Twin Towers as well. It was a symbol of ancient Babylon.
Was
They
it?
rebuilt them and then they knocked them down. Yeah. The Twin Towers. It was Canaanite. Canine.
Yeah,
Canis,
Canis.
Dogstar, Sirius,
Greater Canis.
Great Canis.
There you go. So we've got there's your
Yeah,
911.
yeah.
Your
That's
K,
right, yeah.
your K9 and your relation to 911.
Yeah.
And one that also struck me the other night is one of the planes flew into the Pentagon, didn't it?
Oh yes, of course.
Supposedly.
Did it? It didn't fly into the eastern wing by any chance, did it?
I
Very
don't
I'm
know.
gonna have
It
to look
didn't.
that one up later because one flew into the Pentagon, but whereas all this is related to Sirius and Sirius facing the
There's
right.
no there's no footage of a plane in it. It looks more like a missile. There's no
Yeah,
evidence
there's I think
of an aircraft.
there's three still shots of something, but it's definitely not a plane. But
No,
No.
there was one video released not long after it of something in it, and it looked like a missile. It was just a straight missile.
yeah, it was just some still footages from a local garage, wasn't it?
Mm.
Right. Oh,
Hey, me mate.
where do we find that one from?
Yeah.
A Illuminati,
Wow.
or is it? I don't know.
With the Beatles in the background, Johnny. We won't go to the Tavistockers. Not go there. I'm not going. I'm
No,
not. I'm not going.
I
I'm
know
going to Flat
what
Earth.
year
I'm
it
not
is.
going there.
No, those are demo
Yeah,
discs. The
Can I
demos,
just say?
not
Can
to be
I?
sold to the public.
Yeah. Can I just add as well?
And it's
I
not on the
thought
Beatles, so not
something
not.
thought of something interesting, which was DJing, like Djinn. We talk about
yeah,
archons and the Jinn,
yep,
Djinn is spelt DJINN, of course. And obviously they were, you know, demons,
yeah.
etc.
Well, just change the word Jin.
DJing.
Just every time you see the word Satan, just change it for Jin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
And the
almost
frequency. What do DJs do? They play music. They play
music.
music. They play frequency. They put you in a trance. And Jimmy Savile was. There was a great video, and I put it up in the network of how Jimmy Savile a wizard. It's called. Super interesting, and it goes into the history of York as well, and varying things, and the seventh son to the seventh son, and how he hypnotized the nation. Basically, just could actually just pretty much go everywhere and do anything he wanted, and walk through as though he was a jinn, a DJ in, or Satan or Sirius himself in some form of embodiment, maybe.
Well,
Potential.
wasn't the 1990s music called trance?
Oh gosh, yeah, of course. Entrance, that's why we
And
get an
trance,
entrance walk into a shop.
trance.
Because they put you into a trance, of course. Yeah, commercial trance.
Right, we all know that what that one is.
The SS.
The SS, the German SS, the Nazi SS. Either way, it's still Silver Star Sirius. Even when Hitler used it, it's still the Silver Star Sirius in the same way as the swastika is the Black Sun. It's just how to demonize a sigil that if you see it, you think bad things of it. Again, if you're talking about brainwashing, if we went back 4 years, I know 4 years ago we started calling it Operation Fear, the pandemic, because everything was fear, 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 fear. And if you were spending your life in fear, thinking you were going to get ill, then guess what? You were going to get ill.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a secondary kind of element to that in it. Like I say, it's that programming again. It's like going to AA, isn't it? I'm an alcoholic. Well, then you are.
You
Well
keep
done.
telling yourself that you're going to be ill, you will get ill.
Yeah.
So staying on the SS, we have the Silver State of Nevada. We have the Silver Star Medal, one of the highest awards in America, the American military, with the red, white, and blue. We have the Silver Star roller coaster. We have
Life is a
the
roller coaster. Just got to ride it.
um, we have the Chevy SS.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to flick through these and just read them out because these are going to end somewhere. So we have the Brunel's SS Great Britain. So we have SS in shipping. So we have the SS
Yeah.
Great Britain.
Oh,
We then have the SS Sirius, 1837. The SS Sirius, 1837. the SS Sirius 1885. We have the HMS Sirius 1786. We have the HMS Sirius 1943. We have the HMS Sirius 1966. Are you ready for the last one?
Oh no, don't ruin my life. That's not the Enterprise. Gosh.
Star Trek. It's not the Enterprise, but
Star
it's
Trek.
Star Trek.
Seems
Yeah,
to be on
yeah.
a lot
Well,
of it's on a lot of war ships then.
Well,
Ships
it's
of
on ships. Shipping.
battleships.
Yeah, it's on ships. Shipping.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
mainly it doesn't seems to be mainly battleships.
well, it's predominantly been the tribe of Dan, the Tuatha De Danann, that's promoted most of this, and they were the seafarers. They were, like I was saying, with the Lloyds of London and Maritime.
Mm.
yeah,
It's the tribe of Dan that were the seafarers. So we'll find Sirius everywhere in shipping.
yeah, yeah.
Right, so just quick
It's
moving
fine
on.
that vector everywhere as well.
Find what, sorry?
Every space program has this vector on it.
Yeah,
Every one of them, all around the world, they all have that shape.
that flying disc, that V. We see the
That vector is supposed to have been spotted floating around in space and also around the moon. And it's also depicted on a 15th century drawing. And not whether you know the one with the little man with a dog and there's a little UFO in it. You know
yeah,
which one I mean?
yeah, I know the one you
And
mean.
there's like this woman in the foreground. She's got the same vectors going up her shirt.
For sure.
It's strange. And yet there's a UFO in it as well. There's
So
some connection there with that.
yeah, I mean, I'm leaning towards that V, that vector thing of being the tails of the flying disc. Um, because we also see a lot with like Churchill. Churchill used to go and do the V everywhere. There's adverts on your TV which show the V like literally everywhere. So if you look back, remember the Valvoline V that I put up earlier? I've started to just simply relate the V back to these tails of the flying disc. Might be right, might not be, but it is an explanation of why we keep saying V everywhere. Like everyone keeps asking why we see X everywhere. Well, that's just an answer of why we see V everywhere because it's the tails of the flying disc. Maybe, maybe not. Right, moving on. Secret societies. So, quick fly through some secret societies which have relation to Sirius. So, obviously, we've got the Eastern Star, another name for Sirius, and we have the Uni 5-pointed star. Again, the Order of the Silver Star. We have the Arcana Arcanorum, another secret society. We have the Golden Dawn. Now, I'm presuming this one, where it says Golden Dawn, that will be because of Sirius rising on the dawn of the 4th of July, in the morning of the 4th of July, the Golden Dawn of the 4th of July, presumably. The Temple of Set, Isis, Horus, and Set are three names for Sirius, and the 5-pointed star in the middle of it. We have the Lucius Trust, Lucis Trust. Lu being light, Lu being Lucifer.
They changed the name to that from Lucifer, I think.
Did they?
I think so.
Yeah. Was it Lucius Trust?
Lucius
Trust that's changed to Lucis Trust.
Yeah.
And quite a strange one with that symbol. The three colours are blue, green, and white. Now, I know it's like when we went through the Doppler effect of red, white, and blue. The blue, the green, and the white are the three colours of the bards, ovates, and druids. if you took the bad, have you ever seen a symbol which has a line going straight across and then three lines coming down from it? Or you'll just see that symbol of three lines coming down with a dot over the top. That represents the bards, the druids, and Orvates of Ireland as almost like a union, if you will. So that's where if you ever see that white, blue, if you ever see that white, blue, and green together, that's the bards, druids, and Orvates. Right. The order.
Natural cause too.
Yeah, yeah. Last week, like I said last week, it's got Sirius is called the Green Dragon. I haven't managed to work out why yet, but we have the Order of the Green Dragon. We have the Distinguished Order of Saint Michael. Well, Saint Michael's the sun, Sol. And the last one up is the Order of the Merit Member, the MM, Mother Mary, Sirius. Right. So now we're going to have a quick flick through music. I'm going to start with back to Eminem. And Eminem did a record called Black Star. And as we already know,
this is where I see it all the time, Neil. Yeah.
Yeah, you will. I say it.
Guess who's coming up?
I've probably come up with about 10 or 15 of these, and it probably took me about 10 or 15 seconds to come up with it. That's why I keep saying there's that much out there. It literally only takes you a few minutes, and you can compile massive lists of where you see it everywhere. And this is only serious, so you can go back to music with the Irish, with all the names from the Tuatha De Danann. And once we go through a list of all those names, you'll see it even more. Because this is only half of what you can see. So we start off with Marshall Mathers, Eminem, Black Star, and the Black Star is Sirius. So you know where we're going next with this one.
Yeah.
David Bowie, Black Star. Just to add one interesting one onto this, the name David Bowie, if you took the D and the B and went through that with your mantra, you get the number 42. If you see the number 42 anywhere, that represents the 42 negative confessions of Matt. That's where that comes from, because in Egypt they believed that basically you could do anything that you wanted while you were alive, and then when you died, you then had to go and do this afterlife interview thing, and then you confessed to your sins after you died, and there were 42 of these negative confessions. That is where the 10 Commandments got stolen from, these 42. So they narrowed 42 down to 10. And the difference between Egypt...
Yeah, I'm aware of that one.
Yeah, and the difference between Egypt and Rome was in the Egyptian philosophy, you could actually do anything that you wanted when you were alive, and then you confessed to it after you died. In the Roman philosophy, these were 10 commandments. So you were commanded to live your life in a certain way because of these 10 commandments. So that was the difference in philosophy. Egypt, do what you want and then confess to it after you die. Rome, you will live your life in how we tell you to. But there's only 10 of them. You won't actually read.
And that lightning, sorry, Neil, looks very, it's the S, isn't it? It's the S again.
Yeah, what you got?
And that's where he has it over his eye, doesn't he? Because it looks like the SS symbol as well, doesn't it? It's the same shape over the star.
That one?
That's the one. I was doing everything again.
Yeah, again, you've got the red and the blue of the Doppler effect. And every time anyone sees this lightning strike, everyone's, it's the fall of Lucifer. Well, yes, but Lucifer is Sirius.
And the red hair and the white skin, the RB1 gene, Neil.
Yeah, red hair, white. I'd also like
that Nephilim look.
One day I'm going to find out why he had why he had a blue and a green eye. Moving on.
Oh, here she is. Our Madge.
Yeah. Well, again, you've got Madonna, but Ma is Mama, mother. So mother, Donna.
DNA.
Yeah, but you've got the red, white, and the blue of the five pointed stars. And if you just go and listen to the words, she's singing about the lucky
DNA.
star.
She's
Oh
deliberately
gosh.
saying it now, though, and she doesn't hide it.
She's what, sorry?
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't hide it now, does she?
I what?
She's just out and out dark, really.
Yeah, sure.
Satanic. All the shows are like that, aren't they? Full of symbology and satanic symbology.
Yeah, so well, again, the symbology is all Sirius. So
Yeah,
Satan is Sirius. So it's all basically all you're seeing is Sirius, Sirius, Sirius everywhere. It's only the people that don't know that Satan is Sirius, that think Satan is some evil dude, that will put any negative energy into what they're seeing. But it's still a fiction in what they're seeing. You might as well see something bad in a cartoon and then believe that that's real and put the energy into that. It's not. There is no Satan. It's Sirius.
And and back to the 42 Confessions of Matt, I suppose that fits in with the kind of Aleister Crowley satanic church thing of they say, don't they, do what thou wilt.
Yeah.
Kind of,
yeah.
you get to do what you want basically, and you kind of, I suppose you get, you know, yeah, judged for it in the afterlife or what have you, or you have to confess to it in the afterlife.
It's exactly the same principle. Do as thou wilt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
I only said that before because what I was really getting at was to do what I will means that you can avoid a conscience and divide ethics and morals if you want. And I
Whereas
don't go for that.
Well, we can all do
no,
that. Anybody can do that.
we can do
What
it,
I'm
but
saying
that's why
to
you get the choice, isn't it?
not
Yeah, that's
everybody
freedom of
develops a
choice.
conscience, though, does it?
But it's still freedom of choice. And even the most holy, religious, forthright person can go out and kill someone right now if they wanted to. So I say it's all your
Oh,
life.
sure, for sure. But what I'm saying is, once you've developed a conscience, it's about development, isn't it? That it's all about development. That's all.
Yeah,
If you want to do what you will and you don't want to develop a conscience, you will do what you want.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is the difference. It's just the difference in mentality and where the 10 confessions actually came from. One is actually commanding you how to live your life. The other one is saying live your life how you want and confess to it after you die.
Yeah.
Right. Next one.
Yeah, I'm with you, Neil.
Next one.
Wheel in the sky. So
The,
it's serious.
yeah,
The wheel in the sky.
the wheel in the sky, the Vesica Pisces, the circle of time. This one's a good one. And actually, someone else gave me this one.
A Dante, Dante.
Well, you got a
And
Dante, A, Argentium, Astrium. You've also got
Abba.
you've also got Dan and Dan hidden in there, which I need to do
Mm.
which I also need to do some kind of decode to that. But the interesting one, whether this is right or not, ABBA. So we have Sirius A and B coming and going.
Oh
ABBA
yeah.
and BA.
Yeah, yeah.
Sirius A and B coming and Sirius A
My
and B
father.
going. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to. What does Ba? The Ba has something to do with your soul in Egyptian, isn't it? Because it's the Ka and the Ba.
Yeah.
Your
Mm.
Ka or Ka is something that carries your soul, and is your Ba your actual soul itself?
And
Something
somebody
along
noted,
Abba means father, doesn't it?
does it?
That's what the word means, yeah.
Oh, yep.
So Abba
yeah, I
means
think
father.
think you're right, Johnny. Yeah. So, but it could be father, like who's the father of these people. Somebody pointed out in the comment section is as interesting as potentially we are or not, depending on what your view of us is. But that DNA is Dan,
Dan.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's done. Well, you can take
Yeah.
the A. You can throw the A away. It's just done. D, as in London. The D and the N.
Dun,
Three vowels
dun.
away. Done is Dan.
Yeah.
Uh, right, Sirius, the dog star.
Yeah. Yeah.
Adam and the ants. A,
Adam.
Gemastrium, and doggy dog. I don't want to do this.
And this is one big fruitcake, isn't it? And there's SS and SF, aren't there?
Yeah, yeah, and the
Why so serious?
oh,
Right there. Why so serious? Yeah. Oh my God.
yeah, there's quite a lot in that one, but and the inversion of the sexes and all the rest of
There's a lot of names coming to mind that I can't use right now. We've
it.
just been doing a podcast, and
Yeah,
there's so many nasty names come up. I'm afraid.
yeah, I'm not surprised, but like I said to someone last night, it's you need to stay neutral on this, but it's difficult to stay neutral when you know what they've done. Um,
Mm.
right, you're not going to like this one.
I was gonna say
I've been
I
waiting
knew
for
that
it.
was going to put that. I had to put that one in.
I know the story behind this one as well, though, I'm afraid.
Yeah, again, you've got the esoteric and the exoteric, haven't you? You've got the story within and the story with the hidden story and the real story. Which one's right? I don't know.
Right.
All I know is Prudence is another name for Sirius.
yeah.
That
Let's not
that
go there.
might be
Let's
well
not go there.
true. That might be well true. But
Next
Prudence
slide,
is a
Neil. Next
girl's
slide.
name
Next
that we
slide.
knew.
Next slide. All right. How's that
Oh
one?
They did know we
well, we
knew who
know
she
we know
was.
this one. Yeah. Lucifer, Lucy,
Lucifer in
Lucy,
the Sky with Diamonds. Um,
Lucy.
just to add one onto this, I don't know if you know or not, Johnny. I know you're a Beatles fan. The Yellow Submarine. Do you know what that's all about?
It's a kids' film. Yeah, go on.
Well,
You tell me.
in the sort of Gnostic, the hidden version of what might be reality, the yellow submarine represents the yellow sunboat of Ra, where
Right.
he goes down into the underworld every night, takes the sun down into the underworld every night in his yellow boat. So that's what the yellow submarine stands for in the occult.
Wow.
Right.
Because these submarines tend to represent the subconscious as well, don't they? Because they go into the, underneath the, well, in the water, but and they go right down into the depths and the dark. So it's kind of like represents kind of transformation as well in that kind of alchemical sense, does it?
It could do. I don't know. All I know is the Egyptian story of Ra. He gets into a yellow sunboat every night and then goes into the underworld and then comes up on the other side every morning, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
one explanation of what the yellow submarine represents is the yellow sunboat of Ra. Or might not. Uh,
Interesting.
last but not least,
Yeah.
Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons,
All right.
Well,
the Silver Star. Right, let's just drift over to Hollywood for a second. And where are we
I love that song by
Right.
Frankie Valli, the Four Seasons. Is it, the night? Is it the night that kind of beware of his promise? Do do
Yeah.
do do do.
Oh,
It's
there's
a
some
great
brilliant
song.
music. I wouldn't criticize the music itself, but
No, no, it's just
it's just understanding the words and the names that you
yeah, of
see.
course.
Right, so let's just drift over to Hollywood for 5 minutes.
Holly weird.
There you go. SS.
Yeah.
Sylvester
Mm.
Stallone, Suicide Squad. I was just having a brief play with 9/11 before with the American Airlines and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Michael Moore,
MM.
MM. Yeah, I mean, I've always had that as Michael Moore just being one of them. All they did was tell us about it because I don't think there were enough people actually caught on to what happened. Then was it about 3 or 4 years later, there was Fahrenheit 9/11 and Loose Change. There were two videos that came out basically
Yeah.
exposing it. And it was only after those two videos came out that everyone then started jumping on the bandwagon saying it's all a conspiracy. But it actually had to take those two videos to come out for everyone to then start saying, was it done by the government themselves?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where I see as MM is a Mason.
I remember it at the time, Neil, and I got absolutely slated when, they were saying that they were building a pipeline from America to Iraq, and the Bin Laden's been in bed with the Bushes, like they were all in on it together. But then when those films came out, people, didn't think I was so crazy. It's like as soon as and it's the same thing that we've got now. As soon as people are told it on the TV or in a movie, then that this is right, then people will begin to kind of. But like I said, they play both sides. It's the
They
same
play
thing
both
again.
sides, so they actually have to tell us. I mean, you've got people like let's say Joe Rogan or Russell Brand. I mean, Joe Rogan's in the CIA.
It's
No,
very
and yet,
controversial, isn't it?
and yet people sit there and listen to him, thinking he's one of us. He's a truther. He's giving us all these secret. They're manipulating us by playing both sides. So this is what I say.
They
I've
always
always
do.
yeah.
They always do.
In 12, 18 months' time, there'll be a video that comes out by someone like Russell Brand exposing the COVID pandemic, exposing all that, and then everyone will be jumping on board and calling Russell Brand the modern day hero. He's our knight in shining armor because he exposed the COVID. Well, you could have exposed the COVID in 2019 before it ever came out. Right, we're just staying on Hollywood. Can you see that one?
That's Cypher, isn't it? Out of the Matrix.
Correct. The one who stabbed everyone else in the back.
For his steak dinner.
Yeah, but Cypher, the backstabber, is Lou Cypher. Lucifer.
Oh, yeah.
Cypher. Cypher,
Oh, yeah.
Lou Cypher. He plays the Matrix is based on Gnosticism. all the Matrix is based on Gnosticism. So where I say these characters, he's the backstabber that sold everyone out as such. Cypher plays the role of Lou Cypher or Lou in Cypher, Lucifer.
Yeah.
You will have seen this next one, but you might not have clocked it. Helen Mirren. There's an advert out at the moment called Money Supermarket, and it's Money Super 7. Now, yeah, we've got the Super 7. So you've got the SS, and you also have the 7. You also have the purple from mixing the red and the blue from the Doppler effect, gives you this royal purple color. If you actually watch this advert, next time it comes on, watch the advert, because right at the very end of it, they say, Money Super 7. And then one of the actors in the background goes, Seriously? Watch the advert right to the end. One of them says seriously on the end of it.
That's my line.
Yeah, well, it's Helen Mirren's line as well. Now then, this one, when you clock subliminal messages, have you seen The Witcher?
Some of it.
Right. Well, you understand the outline of what The Witcher is, the background story, etc., with Ciri and all the rest of it. Well, the Freemasons were supposed to be created in a pub in London in 1717. That's the official story of the Freemasons. And yet I keep saying, no, they were invented in Ireland thousands of years ago. I also contend that The Witcher is set in Ireland thousands of years ago in this Atlantis Island period. So imagine my surprise when I'm watching The Witcher and that pops up.
Yeah.
What is the compass and square doing in The Witcher, which is set in Ireland thousands of years ago, considering that the Masons weren't supposed to be created until 1717? But we also have Ciri. And again, Ciri.
You should know why Temple Bar's called Temple Bar, shouldn't you?
Say what, sorry?
You should know why Temple Bar's called Temple Bar then. In Dublin.
Temple Bar?
Yeah, in Dublin.
No,
it's a place, it's a little area. It was set up by the Knights Templar of some sort. It's quite a while ago.
Is it the pub is it Dublin?
There's a pub called Temple Bar, but it's in Temple Bar itself.
All right.
It's a little area. Yeah.
No, again, I've not actually dived into the Templars or the Masons in too much depth just yet. Not that much to play at. But
Yeah,
one,
I've been there actually. It was a good crack.
well, just I'll come back to Templar in a second. Ciri, if you actually watch the series The Witcher, Ciri was born on Beltane, the 1st of May, and she was born under the eclipse of the Black Sun. There's one line in it. Did he really say that? Just rewind it. Just rewind it. Yes, Ciri was born on Beltane under the eclipse of the Black Sun, which is an eclipse of Sirius. Right. Quick play. Say it, see it.
It's a Newty Brown Lake. I really hope I didn't offend any people from Newcastle. Uh, Obviously, we can see the star and the sun behind the
Yeah.
star.
Yeah, just the blue,
Mil yeah.
the blue 5-pointed Unir star with the blue being from the Doppler effect of Sirius coming back towards us.
Yeah.
That's it on that one. But it's one of those where you'll see it every day and you'll just completely miss it. I guarantee you now, every time you see a can of brown ale, Newcastle brown ale, you'll see is that blue star.
You don't see Nuki Browns that much. It used to be a thing in the 90s, that. So it's not as on vogue as it used to be, is it?
I think that's because it tasted a lot better when it came in a glass bottle and not out of a can.
It came in a
Yeah.
bottle, didn't it, originally?
Yeah, in a glass bottle. And everyone used to walk around with a glass bottle. And then
The
they,
people want
70s it was.
yeah, and now we're not to be trusted with glass. So no one buys it. Well, it was the same with what was the other one? Grolsch. How many
Yeah.
people saved Grolsch bottles?
It
Right.
really takes the kind of like fun out of going to a nightclub anymore, doesn't it? Because half of it in our day, Generation X, we were kind of getting glassed or dodging being getting glassed. I mean, you know,
Absolutely.
you know
But
what I mean? It's
again,
all
when you
this for
say,
your safety stuff. It's boring, isn't it? Well, we
oh,
used
again,
to,
if
sort out squabbles back in the day, fucking ducking
well,
glasses.
well, you say when we were kids, I mean, if I turn the news on today, I'll be able to read 50, 100, 200 stories of people getting stabbed and knife crime. And yet, if I think back to the 60s and the 70s, everybody was
Yeah.
carrying a knife. Everybody, there were mods, rockers, everybody carried a knife in the 1960s and the 1970s. Was there an epidemic of knife crime? Well, there might have been because there were only three television stations and a morning newspaper, and that's all there was. You didn't get a report of every single stabbing. I guarantee you there was more knife crime in the 60s and 70s than there'll ever be today.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
moving on.
Oh, this is my favourite.
Go on.
Obvious one, this isn't it? It's the obviously our sun and Sirius moving together, creating the Vesica Pisces in the middle,
Yeah.
Sirius.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw that the other night. There's another fella saying pretty much what you're saying.
right.
In fact,
Yeah.
I bet you know it is. I bet you know it is when he brought that up.
You tell me about him later because I don't know anybody that's doing this stuff.
Uh,
And
I'll
again,
try and find it, you know.
yeah, you've got the Vesica Pisces there, but you also have the yellow sun of Sol and the red sun of Sirius, the red dragon.
Yeah.
So it's just a
And Paul Weller's new album, as we've kind of decoded,
six.
he's got, his new what I think he's well, I can't remember the name of the song, but on his new album 66, on his video, I think it's called Wandering. It's two
Right?
circles just coming together and coming back out and creating the Vesica Pisces. And we know what we've said about the jam,
Yeah,
and
justified ancients
the
of Mumu.
justified ancients of Moo Moo and the Tuatha De Danann, and
I actually only
interesting
saw,
one.
I only saw the advert for his new album last night. Oh, doesn't he look old?
He does look old, and he was,
Doesn't he
oh
look
yeah,
old? I
I
mean,
He's
loved
old.
Paul Weller back
Same
then.
age as me.
how old are you?
66.
Oh, is that how
You
old?
don't look your age,
66.
Johnny.
Oh no,
Hell, I'm
I only
not
asked.
ashamed.
I only asked that. I only asked that because I was born in '66.
Nah.
So I say when
I'm
it came
60.
on, Well, 66 is actually the
Yeah.
number, 66 is actually the number of the Illuminati, or the number of levels that there are. Well, this is in my
Right.
understanding. Um, from what I understand, there are 33 levels of Freemasonry. There are 20 levels of the Illuminati, and then there are 13 family bloodlines above that. That comes from. Have you heard of a channel called Sage of Key? Sage of K, Johnny?
No,
He does a
no.
lot of. He does lots of Beatles and music from the 1960s. That's all he does. Um,
Right.
and one of them was actually apparently he got told that that was the breakdown. There were 66 levels, there were 33 levels of masonry, 20 levels of the Illuminati, and then these 13 family bloodline members. And you can only
Yeah.
presume those 13 family bloodline members are the 13 tribes of Israel because there were 13.
Right.
There were 13 and not 12.
Yeah.
Well,
John,
my age is just my age, fortunately. There's not a lot I can do about that. And after another year, I won't be 66. As I wasn't beforehand. So there
yeah,
you go.
I was born in 66, so it's me 57.
Mm.
Um, Last but not least on this one, we
Can I
have.
just add as well, 66 is there's a demon called Gap, a Sumerian demon called Gap, and in banking terms, Gap is generally accepted accounting principles, which runs all of banking and commerce on the plan ET. And Gap was ruler of the 66 legions of hell.
Does it? I didn't know that. You've also got Gap clothing.
Oh yeah, of course.
Um, right. One of the names for Sirius is Danica. Danika. Danica. So I was just playing around with that word for a while. If we take the word Danica and take the word Dan off it, for obvious reasons, you're left with the word Ika, I-K-A. And quite simply, if you translate IKA, Ica, through ancient Irish, you come up with the name IKEA. So one of the names for Sirius is IKEA, or Dan IKEA.
So that's so
Isn't that a
funny, right? Do you
Swedish
know what?
word?
I've never wanted to go in an IKEA. I swore when I was in my 20s. I don't know why I find the places so horrifying to my soul or my gut or something. And I just used to say, I will never step in an IKEA. And do you know what? I never have.
To be honest,
Well, it's just bland and boring, really. But in IKEA is Swiss or Swedish, I forget. Company.
yeah, they're Swedish. I think they're a Swedish company. Um, you don't want to.
Yeah.
You're not missing anything with IKEA. I actually
No, it's
fit out.
boring.
Yeah, well, the showroom in Preston. I fit the showroom out last year in Preston, with all their kitchens and wardrobes and stuff. So I got to put all their kitchens together to see how they were done, and they have got some decent designs, but the build quality is absolutely diabolical. I wouldn't give one of their kitchens 5 years to live. So they've got some good designs, and if you want a show kitchen that's never used, they're brilliant. But if you want something that's practical that you use all the time, forget it. One of the interesting things I did find about IKEA is I was putting a load of office chairs together, and one of their salesmen were telling me about how they're such a green company and they come from Sweden and all the materials they use are green and sourced and healthy for the planet, etc., etc. I was putting one of these chairs together, and on the bottom of the chair said "Made in China."
Yeah, it does not
Hmm.
surprise me in the
Not exactly
slightest.
got the best humanitarian record from where they're sourcing that
Yeah.
particular product from. Anyway, moving on. Right. Um, Here we have the Royal Arch from Masonry.
Yeah.
Interested on this little part
Yeah.
about that
Freemasons.
is about that 69 at the top. But I've been wondering ever since I saw that Royal Arch, why is that 69 at the top? Why is it there? What does it represent? I know they're a bunch of perverts, but surely that's not the reason why they put the 69 at the top. That's the reason they put the 69 in the top.
Yin and the
the
yang.
yin and the yang, and the yin and the yang represents the orbits of Sun and Sirius. That wheel, the wheel of time.
I'm a Taoist, and it doesn't in Taoism. It's got nothing to do with it.
No, it's the balance of light and dark, the balance of good and bad, etc., etc. In this theory, that 69 is the yin and the yang, and that's the orbits of the black sun and the white sun.
There's always some dark in the light and always some light in the dark.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a black hole and a white hole.
Yep.
It's balance. It represents balance, actually.
Yep, that's one explanation. And another explanation
could that's where it originated. That's how it's a Taoist symbol. It originated from there.
Yeah, but you can't be one. You can't. That is a theory. That is an option of what it might be. I'm just giving in.
Oh, no, that's the origination of it. It originated from there. It's a Taoist symbol, and it originated in China.
Well, were you in China?
You're just told.
Yeah, but you're repeating what you've been told. I'm giving you another option of what it could be. You're putting all your eggs in one basket and going, that is Taoist.
Everybody repeats something they've been told, don't they? Because nothing belongs to you. I pointed that out before. You learn something from somewhere and you read it from somewhere. There are many rooms you can go in, lots of different knowledge. Some are little cupboards and some are great big libraries. It's up to you.
Yeah.
The origination of that symbol comes from Taoism. There is no other source that it came from first and original. And you can ask anybody that who understands it. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm saying
I know that. So
why would I say I'm just putting the difference between knowing and believing? I don't know anything. I believe that could be.
Neither does anybody. I'm not saying that. I'm telling you, there's some things that if I put a cup in front of you and then tell you it's an orange, we're in trouble.
But what I think, actually, if I can interject, I'm kind of I see it from both sides. I don't generally believe anything that I'm told, whether it comes from a book, whether it comes from Johnny, whether it comes from Neil. I suppose like everything's open to such varying interpretation, isn't it?
Which is why I put such a big differential on the words knowing and believing. Nothing I've said. There's only a very small amount of this that I actually know. Most of this I believe. Now I believe the yin and yang symbol could represent the black sun and the white sun and the wheel of time. I don't know that. I believe it could be. I also believe it could be from Taoism and a symbol for the balance of light and dark, the balance of good and bad. The balance.
I think it's both. I think both.
Moving on. Well, we see these everywhere. The all-seeing eye, the eye of providence, the eye of Horus. All these are representative of Sirius. We see it everywhere. This is why I said last time, I don't even think that they know what they're doing. I think they've forgotten what they're doing. We go on to this, the all-seeing eye, the 666, which I explained last week, which is actually the 616, which is the Emperor Nero. 666 isn't the right number to use. So why are they pulling the 666 number if it doesn't even exist? Because again, like I said, they went all in on 666 being the number of the beast through Aleister Crowley and the King James Version Bible, when it now turns out that 666 is the wrong number and it should be 616. So they went all in with 666 being the number of the beast, and now they have to stick to it.
And it is a really good Iron Maiden song, Neil.
Say again, sorry?
It's a really good Iron Maiden song, isn't it, Neil?
666. Yes, great. This is great song.
Beast.
666, the number of the beast. Again, this is where you go back to when you're seeing satanic rituals in music. We'll change that word satanic to the word Sirius.
Yeah.
It's worshipping, it's Sirius. I keep calling it the cult of Sirius rather than the cult of Satan or anything like that. It's cult, it's Sirius rituals. Again, we can go back to the 666. We're up to 109, and the last one. You see this one everywhere. This is the one without the Royal Arch. So now you've sat here for many hours and many hours, and you will see this drawing many times. What do you see? So
Well, I would
This calipers in a square, Masonic stuff, between two pillars.
Yeah, the eye of Providence.
So the moon and the eye, yeah.
Yeah. So every time you see this eye,
I've seen that lots, yeah.
Yeah, you'll see it everywhere. It's the basis of a lot of drawings. But every time you see this drawing now, that eye of Providence is Sirius. You can just change that eye to Sirius, and that's a better explanation. When I was saying these ethereal energies coming from Sirius through the sun down to the earth. So if you every time you now just change that eye to Sirius, you'll understand the picture better.
Yeah.
Right. That concludes my case on Sirius.
And that's all, folks. We need the little bunny to go through the the Warner Brothers symbol now, don't we?
Yeah, so let's get back to this. So that when I remember when you first introduced this and you said it's for me to lay out the evidence. We're halfway through, and that is all the evidence all the evidence that I'm presenting on Sirius and why Sirius is the most important star in the sky and the most important star in life and on the planet and always has been. So that concludes. So the first one was the opening statement. That was the defense, which now concludes.
Thank you so much, Neil. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's kind of almost hypnotic for me. As I always say, it fits in for me, it resonates with me. I suppose if we're all gonna have something to say, I would say like what I've been saying a little bit throughout. For me, it like I say it fits, but also it's kind of these narratives and these stories that again move our consciousness, and the moving of our consciousness creates those higher frequencies within us. We're kind of ascending ourselves by looking at it and being able to see things as they truly are. As we say, you're putting on the they live glasses, and you can see it, and you can see these codes and symbols everywhere. And for me, it's decoding the language of the symbols and decoding the constructs, which moves our consciousness, which moves our frequency, which whether this is a trap or not, like I say, like me Nana always used to say, and I say it again and again, we're all trying to get to the same place on a different buzz, but absolutely fascinating. And I'm sure that the people who've been watching it will think the same as well. But again, we're all entitled to kind of, I mean, like I was saying earlier, some of the comments that we've had on the videos have been as interesting as anything that we've got to say. We've got some amazing, so super intelligent viewers out there on the Dark Matters network. And yeah, yeah.
Okay, this is just thrown out to. You should watch these videos and come off, and your head should be spinning with new ideas, which you then can go into and start researching yourself. If you're going to call yourself a researcher, then you need to research these things yourself. These are introductions to new ideas and new concepts that I presume most people haven't heard. And basically, I'm just walking into a field, kicking over everyone's molehills, and stop certain subjects stagnating. It's just shaking the jar up to stop everything stagnating, to bring new ideas in and new concepts to, I can now go and look at that. Oh, now I understand what that word means, or I can start understanding these. That's all it's about, is just helping people to move on with their own research.
Yeah, and I don't believe anything I'm prescribed. I don't believe anything that I'm told. I never kind of do. I think as the universe is in flux, it's that as above, so below. So should we be. If we stay static, or we say, it's like people who say, I'm a Buddhist, or I'm a this or that. You're already putting yourself into constructs and confines, in my opinion. Whereas if you kind of, I had this massive epiphany, and I'll share it with people very quickly. But I was in bed one night, and I was just kind of almost in a bit of a meditative state, which is quite rare for the spell because my brain's so busy all the time, and my brain had really settled, and I just kind of went, I get it. And this is just my personal journey. I'm not saying this is true, but I just thought it's all bollocks, all of it. And I don't want to. And I decided not to believe because there's a lying belief, right? I decided not to believe in any of it. And all of a sudden, I felt really light, and I just felt really free. And it's interesting to look at this stuff. It's interesting to pull the proverbial thread. It raises our frequency and consciousness for me. And I don't care what anyone else wants to believe. Like I say, we're all trying to get to that same place. And I find it absolutely fascinating. We've got to keep it fun. We've got to keep it, unified. We've got to keep connected. We can't be arguing with each other about the devil in the detail. But for me, on my journey personally, and that's all I do at Dark Matters, is I just share my journey as I go along. And I meet people like yourself, Neil. I meet Johnny, I meet Larry at the WTF Festival. We've got Stephen JD Beatty coming on, and we're all going to do a day event, aren't we? We get you guys in real life and record it, etc. That's going to be fun. But people might come along like people do and comment on the videos, say bollocks, that's a load of rubbish. That's fine too. And I'm just trying to bring that forward. And if people resonate with it, brilliant. If they don't, turn us off, you know what I mean? It's for people to do their own research, to make their own minds up. But for me personally, once I decided I didn't believe in any of it, I felt like I was floating off. Like I was like, woo. And that's kind of how I look at it, really. But yeah,
You can almost
it's
start again
it's
if you start afresh, because all subjects that you study should be started with a completely clear head. Clear the chalkboard. Don't come in with preconceived ideas of something else. And a perfect example of that would be the flat Earth. I mean,
yeah. Let's talk about
I
that.
studied flat Earth for about 10 years, but to study flat Earth, you need to basically get rid of the concept of there being a globe Earth because you balance one against the other. So if you can put one concept to one side, study a new concept, learn that, and then put the two against each other, you don't fighting with what one thing that you thought you knew against something that you're learning new. So you've got to learn a
Yeah,
completely new subject and then come back and put the two against each other. So, like I keep saying, I don't know anything. I believe a lot of stuff, but I don't know anything because I won't go all in 100% on something I
yeah.
know because I keep finding, was it George Carlin that said they lied about everything?
I mean, for me, like I say, my own journey, my own research, it ties in perfectly. It ties in with the law, it ties in with the language. It's the decode of all these things that I piece together, but I pull my own thread, as we say, as should you. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks so much to Neil and to Johnny, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Carly. Cheers, Johnny.